Good morning, natural gas. It's Wednesday, May the 13th, 2026. I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company. And for the spot June natural gas contract, we're currently up. We're currently trading at 288.90, up 4.6 cents or over 1.62%. And as you can see, we're between the 13 and 48 period exponential moving averages. The RSI is pointing higher. So let's take a look at what else is going on. Let's take a look at the hourly. And here it is with the pivot. It bounced right off the pivot. That pivot resistance here, 292.40. We got as high as 292.70. And the RSI is turning sideways. So the daily pivot today, 286.40. We're above that, and we're just contained by the first resistance here at 292.40. So let's see what else could be possibly moving things around here today. We're going to talk about the heat and LNG. Let's take a look at the front to back spreads. This is the Jan versus the October spread. And as you can see, the RSI has turned sideways. We're down through this channel. We tried to break out back into the channel yesterday, failed. Now we're back down. We're currently down 1.2 cents here to 146.60. So this looks like we're going to continue to soften here. If we break to a new low below 145, we'll be targeting 125 on this particular spread. And here is the Novi through March strip. There is a little bit of bargain hunting here. And as you can see, we're just up 4 ticks here to 392.40. The RSI is still pointing upward on a nice slope, which tells us that this is a consolidation phase. What could be driving this market higher? We don't know yet. It could be global LNG prices, but we've got a super El Nino that is weighing on U.S. domestic winter expectations. Let's take a look at Ercot. And as you can see here, we're only going to be about just under 38,000 megawatts here for renewables today at its peak. Wind does improve late in the session here, though. Gets back over 20,000 megawatts here at night, and that's normal. But here's our peak during the day, and that's almost 74,000 megawatts in Ercot. And so that means natural gas is going to be picking up the slack for wind today. Yes, solar is still doing quite well, over 60% of the fuel mix today. And let's take a look at LNG. This is Corpus Christi LNG, and it is starting to pick back up from recent maintenance. Now currently running just under 2.5 BCF per day, at a 2.75. So operationally, this is ramping back up to full speed. How about Golden Pass? Well, it's going in the opposite direction. We've only got 50,000 MMBTUs going into the terminal. We peaked out over 500,000 the other day through one cycle and then backed off quickly here. So we may have an operational issue, or they're simply just kind of easing out some of the problems with this particular terminal. We've got boats heading back there. So let's see what happens here for Golden Pass LNG over the next couple of days. How about Las Rafan? This is over here in Qatar. And we had 2 ships yesterday that were at the terminal. This one, Al Rayyan, and of course, our favorite, Gasolog Skagen. And news possibly loading back up and making a run for the Gulf. I don't really know, but at least they're loading some LNG off of Las Rafan. And let's take a look at our first LNG tanker to load from Golden Pass. And it unloaded up in Belgium, and it is about halfway across the Atlantic right now, and it is heading back toward the United States. So as you can see here, just between Europe and Canada, and right now that's pointing back toward Golden Pass. It's a little congested here on the maps, but as you can tell, it is making that route. How about the Sea Eagle? Well, the Sea Eagle loaded the second cargo from Golden Pass, and it's north of Dominican Republic. Let's see if it unloads here. If it does, it's going to be at the capital here, just east of Santo Domingo. That would be the loading point for LNG for Dominican Republic, but it may be unloading somewhere else. We're going to keep a careful eye on it because this is very, very interesting. And how about the heat? This is possibly why we're kicking up again today. We've got moderate heat risk here through Texas, New Mexico, all the way back up into the Dakotas and Montana. Then this is mostly here in Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Kansas, but it spreads eastward and starts to intensify here as we get through the forecast period. And now here as we get into Sunday, Monday, and into Tuesday, now you're starting to get some of the heavily populated centers in the Northeast here for moderate heat risk. And let's take a look at that heat anomaly here. As you can see here, that heat builds out to the west, pushes east as we go through the forecast period here, and that contains all of the Great Lakes and New England, as well as the mid-Atlantic states, and then pushes up into Canada before the cold pushes that out to sea, and then we start the cycle yet again from the west. So very, very interesting times, but we're starting to heat up. And remember, the south is dry. How about Europe? Well, it looks like somewhat cooler temperatures are right now pushing through the space. As you can see here, we're looking for warmer temperatures to come in from the east. That does happen here around the 21st. And then it gets warm again. Looks like some really good warm temperatures here around May the 24th all the way through the 25th. And then it starts to ease up a little bit as we get into near June. So what about storage? Well, we're currently at 35.6% full across the EU. That is still low, but not as low as it has been record-wise. But we still have some places like the Netherlands, which are still struggling to put gas into tank. I don't know why. But what else is going on in Europe? Well, this is Hammerfest LNG. This is that LNG terminal that is north of the Arctic Circle. That's right, way up here. And this has had an operational issue. And unfortunately, that is going to mean that facility will be down for several days. So that's going to start affecting natural gas production in the form of LNG from Norway. So right now, Norwegian pipeline nominations are still holding, but we're going to lose some LNG exports. And how about Asia? Well, warmer temperatures are forecast here. As you can see, the Koreas start to really warm up here around the 15th. And then we start seeing some bigger, warmer temperatures pushing into China here as we get late in the forecast period. Again, this is really warm around the 27th before it starts easing up a little bit. So we are forecasting a super El Nino forming this winter. But before that, we may see some very warm temperatures in eastern China, the Koreas, and Japan, similar or even worse than 2023. How about the U.S. nuclear outages? Well, we're currently bouncing up a little bit today at 14.7 gigawatts that are currently offline, still within the 5-year average. Again, we are going to push toward July and through September as low outages at that time for summer heat. But right now, we've still got Fermi that is mostly down, and of course Palisades we're keeping a careful eye on. How about the Saharan air layer? Well, nothing's going to form anytime soon in the mid-Atlantic because we've got a ton of dust out there, folks. We've got 2 plumes pushing out towards South America. That is going to inhibit any kind of storm development. Again, the official season for the Atlantic starts June 1st. May 15th, just 2 days away, is the unofficial start to the Atlantic season. We'll see if anything has a chance to form, but if it does, it's off of Panama, Honduras, or in the Bay of Campeche. How about our stocks? Well, of course, things are looking a little choppy here right now. Mostly, yeah, it's all in the red, unfortunately. Behind me, CNX down 0.54%. So, unfortunately, things are not looking good on the equity side today. Again, recapping for the spot June natural gas contract, we're currently trading at $2.8860, up 4.3 cents or 1.51%. Possibly on heat coming in because we're starting to look really, really warm as we get further and further in the forecast period. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.